Live from Paradise Studios in Massapequa, New York, it's Unger the Radar, starring Randy Unger. Brought to you by Magnitude Jewelry. Add a 2 to match your attitude. Tonight, Randy will be going over the best and worst movies of 2018 with special guest critics Rachel Kolb, Chris Clemente, and Jason Koenigsberg. And now, here's your host, Randy Unger.
Hey guys, I'm Randy Unger, and this is another special edition of Unger the Radar. Very special because tonight is the Golden Globe Awards. Tonight, actually an hour from right now. So we have a lovely panel tonight to go over the best and worst films that have come out last year, and that might get the coveted statue tonight. So guys, welcome to the couch once again. Chris Clemente, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going with you?
Good, good.
Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we had fun at the holiday show.
Yeah. It was raging back then. Now
Yeah.
It's raging with the New Year's. So
Yeah.
keeping the party going.
Off to a good start, right?
Yeah.
And Rachel, welcome back as well.
Yep, thank you for having me
back. And Jason Koenigsberg.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being
Thank
here
you for
the
having me.
first time.
Yes.
So you got some veterans here, but don't let that intimidate you. We all love film, and that's
Fresh
why.
meat.
Yeah. I like that idea.
Pick apart my criticisms. Fine.
It's a movie fraternity, sure,
Okay.
sure. So guys, we got a ton to cover. So yeah, I wanted to do basically our favorite and least favorite movies of the year. So we'll start kind of backwards with the worst, and then just work our way up to the shame list, honorable mentions, and then of course the top 10. So for me, there are just two movies on my worst list. One's called Maximum Impact, and it's basically an action thriller starring Danny Trejo, and it's so bad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was just
Is it
curious.
Danny, or?
No, he was actually the only decent part about it, but
Okay.
there was just a lot of running around and mindless action. And Rachel, were you on that show?
I was not on
okay.
that
You're
one,
very
no.
lucky. You're lucky.
So it's no machete. Is what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
that
All
this
right.
pales in comparison.
All right.
So there's that, and actually, I don't know, some of you might dislike this choice, but The Predator. I thought it was a total letdown. I was completely disappointed.
I was talking about this with Rachel.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
you were?
Before we
Yes.
got here, because
Yep.
we were going over our most disappointed, and I
Yeah.
said that was my most disappointing. It's
Well-
not the worst film of the
Right,
year.
right.
For what you said, the script, it seemed like a fifth grader wrote.
Yeah.
I mean, just the way it started out. And Shane Black is a writer-director that I admire.
I think he wrote this in crayon.
He must have, because, or he just, I don't know. I've never seen him make a movie that was this. It seemed like anyone could have done it. The acting was bad.
Yeah.
Olivia Munn didn't convince me she was a biologist from Johns Hopkins.
Like, I thought it would go back to like the nostalgic factor.
Oh yeah, and it tried to.
It tried.
but it was horrible.
Yeah.
it tried to. Yeah.
Did you guys see it?
It went from being a movie that was on one of my most anticipated lists because of the cast mainly, and also because I do enjoy Shane Black's work.
Yeah.
It went from being very anticipated to something that I just flat out felt bad going, like
Yeah.
did not want to go see.
Right.
And a lot of that unfortunately had to do with the controversy surrounding Shane Black and his casting of his friend, who, fun fact, happens to be, and I got this exactly correct so that this isn't like, he is a felony sex offender who attempted to lure a 14-year-old girl into a sexual relationship.
Wait, this isn't a real fact?
This
for
is
the next- oh, wow.
this is a fact that he is a registered sex offender. He did not let the rest of the cast know this. And so Olivia Munn then, after the fact, when she found this out, went public with this information and said, well, this is wrong, and I feel wrong about the fact that I had to do a scene with this guy
And there's
where
a boy
he's
in the
hitting
movie.
on
There's a
me.
child in the movie too.
Yes, yes.
And this
Would-
all came out like a week before the
Right.
movie
Yeah.
was released, so they had to re-edit it. So
Yeah.
what the critics may have seen might not have been what we saw.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's sad.
Exactly.
So sad.
Yep.
Yeah, me too. I've seen the movie, and
Yeah.
like you, Rachel, such an anticipated movie for
Yeah.
myself, and then it was just a complete letdown.
Yeah.
Complete letdown.
Hard to believe. I think that's the worst Predator movie.
Yeah.
Other than
Yeah.
the AVPs.
I didn't even
Yeah.
see those,
Yeah.
but I'm sure I'll take your word for
Oh,
it.
yeah. Trust me. Yeah, those were bad.
Like the first two Predators are pretty iconic, and then
Yeah.
I thought they would kind of go back to that, you know. terrible.
That was my most disappointing movie.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Chris, what's on your list?
For
worst, yeah.
For the worst, well, I got 3. I mean, to be
Okay.
honest, that sentiment with just a total letdown is a recurring theme this
Yeah.
year for me at least. But the bottom 3 on the list would be 50 Shades Freed.
Oh,
I
God.
saw.
Yeah.
And
That's the third one, right?
that's the third
Yeah.
and final one, and
Hopefully
thank
the
God.
last.
Yeah.
They didn't make any more books, I don't think.
Oh,
but
we're all
it's,
lucky.
It's just smut. There's no plot. It's just
Uh-huh.
it's just a.
It's softcore porn.
It's pretty much. Thanks for
And-
saying it.
yeah.
I didn't say it there. Yeah.
No
Yeah.
chemistry
Yeah.
either. They're so
With no
wooden.
story
No, no,
value.
no,
No.
Oh.
And like, there is no meaning behind the sex either.
Mm.
Whereas, like, I kind of compare it to other sexual films, like Shame. I've been known for praising a lot in the past, and there's substance there. There's no substance to these
Wow.
films. Just they're feeding off the books, they're feeding off their source materials, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I hope we never have to see one again. Yeah.
Well, there's also the issue, of course, that after the first 50 Shades movie, which again, not a great movie, but at least Dakota Fanning is Dakota Johnson. Dakota Johnson, yes, is at least seems like she's having a good time in it, and it's maybe a bit of a good initial showcase for her.
Yeah.
But then they switched up their creative team. They got rid of their screenwriter and the director at the behest of the original author of the books, and put in people that she wanted in there.
Right.
And that really shows in the fact that the actors do not look like they're having fun.
Right.
Like in the first one, at least there's a certain level of we'll get through this together. And by the end of it, like the last one, it's just like we're just running out the clock.
Does it just
on
go
this.
downhill with each one? Because I haven't seen any of
I
that.
only saw the first 2,
Okay.
and they were still just very unerotic. It's supposed to be sexy,
Yeah.
and it's just
Forced.
very forced. They
Yeah.
have no chemistry.
Yeah.
They're like
That's off.
bored going through the motions.
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah.
Should be more exciting than that.
Well, I
Right,
love
right, right.
Dakota Johnson though. She's a decent actress. She did this. It was like a modern take on a Shakespearean play called I think Cymbeline.
I didn't
Yep.
see that.
Came out a couple years
I
ago.
didn't see that.
Yeah.
She's good in that.
Yeah,
she's very
she's a good
natural.
actress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a movie on my top 10 when we
Yeah.
get to that.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
she's doing work, and
Yeah.
I think at least it gave her some exposure.
Sure.
So
Oh, yeah.
that's a good thing. But yeah, alone.
Exposure in more ways than one.
But
She needs a better script
yeah.
for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anything else on your worst?
Yeah, Ocean's 8. That was just a snore fest for me.
I heard.
total-
I heard it was like lukewarm reviews about it.
just like it was, the plot just went downhill, and I think I fell asleep maybe halfway through.
Yeah.
It was like they're trying to stretch out the Ocean's trilogy,
Right.
and it's nothing.
Did it connect
there.
to the previous films?
Slightly, in the very least, with the George Clooney,
Yeah.
brother factor. But other than that,
I just like the first one.
yeah.
Well, I will say that I actually have it on my 10 paired with another one.
Oh, okay.
So I will have to disagree with
good,
you
good,
about
yes.
this.
Oh my!
But
Yes.
This is what
we
the show's all about, folks.
we can certainly get into it when I
Love
get
it.
to my top 10. But yeah,
Yes.
I had quite a good time with Ocean's
Good,
8.
good,
so.
good, good. Well, that's what this is all about.
Yep,
Yes,
exactly.
of course.
Healthy debate.
Healthy debate.
Yes.
All right. So
And
that.
the last one, I mean, I can tell you my whole bottom, but I'm not going to do that. Creed 2.
What was it?
Creed 2.
Oh, Creed 2.
Oh.
Creed 2.
I
Yeah,
haven't
that was-
seen it yet.
You
I
like
heard it was
that?
decent.
I like that.
It was
Yeah.
such a letdown from the first one.
Oh.
It was. I felt like they had characters that were sort of developed, and there were plot lines with him having a child that just kind of fell flat, and I think like the Russian element with
Drago.
thank
Yeah.
you.
His son, yeah.
And his son, I felt like there was something there, and you kind of got it in the end, but it should have been fleshed out more.
I agree with that
Yeah, yeah.
criticism. There, I'm thinking back to my review. I did like it,
Yeah.
and I did write down that it wasn't as good as the original
Yeah.
Creed, because I think
Yeah.
the first Creed surprised everybody. No
Yeah.
one thought it was going to be as good as
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah, I mean this.
They
this
thought it'd be
film
like
was
another
really,
like the Rocky. What was it? Balboa.
Balboa,
Right, right.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
which
this
is-
was just. I mean, this may be
Yeah.
one of the best Rockies in the series.
I think because of
Right.
Michael B. Jordan.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Right,
it
well,
was fantastic.
Creed 1, I felt like it held up
Yeah,
with the other
yeah,
Rockies,
and Stallone
I
as
think
well,
I
yeah.
think part
Yeah.
of that was Stallone's performance in that one. But now Michael B. came to be his own character. In the
Exactly.
second one, I
Still,
felt
the
like
torch was passed in the last
Yeah,
film, and
it's
this one is
definitely-
really about Michael B. Jordan.
Right.
Stallone has a backseat.
Yeah.
right, and
Man, yeah.
I feel like his acting's wooden. I feel like his character's not fleshed
Hmm.
out. I'm really not.
I thought it was better than that.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
will say, I remember my criticism. There's one scene when Drago sits down with
Yes.
Stallone, with Rocky,
Hmm.
in his restaurant.
Yeah.
And I think that could have been so much better, but they kept cutting away. It could have been
Right.
like De Niro and Pacino in Heat,
Right.
when they're sitting down at
Right.
that diner.
Right,
And
right.
if they just
That's a good
focused on them,
comparison.
but instead they're going back and forth, showing highlights, showing Creed
Right.
and his family, and then cutting back to Stallone and
Right.
A
Dolph
missed
Lundgren.
opportunity for
Right.
something.
Yeah, and that
Yeah.
could have been such a powerful scene. That was my biggest
Wow.
criticism.
But
of
again,
it. Yeah.
they're going back to the source material, going back to the old Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
But when focusing on Creed and Michael B, I feel like there wasn't enough there. Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Creed 2.
Yeah,
Wow.
Creed 2, yeah.
And that's your
That's
full.
it.
That's it.
That's
Okay.
all I'll give right now.
All right.
Else I'll,
For now.
I'll just continue.
You'll come back another time and
Yeah.
finish it off. Rachel, what do you got?
Well, there's a couple that I want to mention. My first one is my most frustrating theater experience because I don't feel that this is necessarily a bad movie. However, this was my least favorite movie that I sat through this year, which was Hereditary.
Oh.
Hereditary.
Wow.
I am not on board with a lot of the ideas that it puts forth. I think that like Haunting of Hill House, I think deals with the same sort of subject matter and does
Yeah.
it in a much better manner.
Okay.
I also think that it has a little bit of spoilers, some damaging notions about people on the spectrum. It also, as far as that goes, I think that maybe perpetuates some bad stereotypes. And overall, I just was so frustrated with the end of that movie, especially because there's so much good acting and so much good artsmanship going on in it, from the cinematography to the sound design. Sound design, incredible,
Yeah.
absolutely amazing sound design, but it all goes towards a message that I just can't get behind.
Okay. Well, what about Nat? Was it Nat Wolff? Nate Wolff? The son?
Oh yes, the son. Yeah.
Yeah. He's great. He gave a great performance.
Oh, all of the actors
so does
give great
Colette, yeah.
performances. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought this might be my favorite haunted house movie, like haunting movie in recent times, since The Conjuring.
Okay.
So, okay, I respectfully disagree
Yeah.
with that.
That's actually on my shame list. I haven't seen it. So, so what you're saying is that it's just not tastefully done. It's not the fact that they mention it and kind of went with it, but they
I
did it
feel
in a
I
poor
feel like
fashion.
when you see it, perhaps you'll have a better notion of this, because I don't want to give too much away, but there's also very much a sexist message that's pushed through it, which I don't like. That's like woven into the supernatural part of it. But at any rate, I'll be interested to hear what you think once you see it. But I will say that Toni Collette is fantastic.
Yeah.
All the scenes that are about the family drama and about dealing with the emotions of the trauma that's happened to their family,
Yeah.
all great.
Right.
The supernatural stuff just did not connect with me at all.
Interesting.
So,
Okay.
I'll plead the fifth on that one. That's on my top 10. So
Yes.
when we get to
wow.
our
Yes.
when we get to our top
It's
10,
on the
I'll
list.
talk
Yes.
about
Yeah.
Hereditary.
yes.
Okay,
Nice.
but for right now, yeah.
Yeah, I
Yep.
thought it was
Disagree.
I thought it was a really powerful horror
I
film.
loved it.
It was great.
I absolutely loved it.
yeah. It's not on my top 10, but it's
Okay.
definitely not off the radar. So, yeah.
Okay. And I have two other ones that I wanted to give a shout out for,
Sure.
for just shame on the people working on these.
Shout out.
The first one goes to Show Dogs, a very bad movie starring Will Arnett. I thought that
Oh,
the
I saw posters of that.
yes.
This movie, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't see it. Yeah.
So I thought that the interview with the Arrested Development cast would be the low point for Will Arnett this year, but Show Dogs managed to be even lower than that. They ended
Wow.
up pulling this movie from theaters because of certain messages that it was sending to kids, specifically about being touched by other people, that were so damaging and so bad that the studio was shamed into pulling it and re-editing the movie.
So he's like the FBI agent
Yes,
investigating?
yes, and he has a dog partner that has to go undercover in a dog show. And part of a dog show, the judges will go and examine their genitals. And
Okay.
and Will Arnett tells him, "Well, just
going. I
close
see
your
where
eyes,
this is
just
going.
close your eyes and
Okay.
go to your Zen place."
Wow.
Which anyone that knows anything is just like, how did this end up in a kids movie?
Oh my.
So that's on my shame list. Also,
Interesting.
even though this was
You
technically
mean your worst list, right?
Yes, my
Oh,
worst list. Yes, yes, my worst list. And even though this was technically it was supposed to be a 2017 release, I'm including it because it made the news again this year, which was I Love You, Daddy, which was Louis C.K.'s film that even Chloe Grace Moretz, the star of the movie, has said she doesn't want this movie to ever see the light of day.
Oh wow.
So
Did you see it? Because I haven't seen it.
No, I haven't even heard of it.
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
It was black
Yeah,
and white.
yeah.
It looked like he was doing a Woody Allen movie.
It's pretty
yeah.
much it's
but
him
I'd
trying to
like
do
see
Manhattan.
I'd like to see the cut of that if it ever comes out. Yeah.
Was Chloe Grace Moretz involved in any incident with him?
No, she was not.
She's pretty young,
However,
so that would be.
That would
however,
even-
she
yeah.
has said that
Worse.
she, considering what has come out about Louis C.K. since then, she never
Right.
wants that movie to come out.
Yeah.
And currently, he owns the rights to release it, but he hasn't. So,
Okay.
Yeah, he's finishing it at this
What's it
point.
called again? The I Love You, Daddy?
I Love You, Daddy.
Yeah, it was just on the heels
Yeah.
of his scandal.
Right. Now I'm very
Yeah, it was
curious.
supposed to come out the end of last year.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
Yep.
just because of he got in trouble shortly before that, it's never been released.
Yeah.
And from what it sounds like, it won't be for
Yeah.
quite some time, I guess. Yeah.
Get a
yep.
bootleg somewhere.
It was around the same time that they
Yeah.
redid Kevin Spacey's All the Money in the World.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
After
yeah.
that,
Yeah.
they reshot
Yeah,
those scenes
that's
with Ridley
right,
Scott
yeah.
in like weeks before release. Yeah.
Right.
So not Ridley Scott, was Christopher Plummer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, mhm.
It's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I also was somewhat disappointed by the Cloverfield Paradox and also Black Mirror Bandersnatch, which
Okay.
just came out.
Wasn't a TV show? A TV
Black Mirror? Well, it technically is more of a TV movie.
TV
A
movie,
lot
okay.
of people have been including it more
Okay.
when they're discussing movies, or it's kind of like that weird in between.
Okay.
So, because it has like I think 5.5 hours of content as part of it. So, and I like the conceit behind it, but I think the story that they were telling didn't really connect with me.
Right, and that along with Cloverfield Paradox are both Netflix originals.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. I didn't hate the new the Cloverfield Paradox.
I
one.
didn't either. Yeah.
I just like the first one really, and the second one has a great performance from John Goodman.
Yes.
definitely, yeah.
Yes.
And I always forget, is it Elizabeth Winstead? Who's the
yes.
Mary Elizabeth.
Mary
Mary
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
Mary
British
Elizabeth
actress,
Winstead.
yeah.
great acting, but the movie itself, kind of.
I liked how he was crazy and telling the truth at the same time. So I
Yes.
thought that was an interesting
Dynamic.
you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
dynamic
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
True.
Yeah, and John Gallagher Jr. in that as well.
That
so.
was the other guy.
Yep.
But nothing can touch the first Cloverfield, in my
First
opinion.
one,
That's
I
a
agree with you.
brilliant horror sci-fi action movie.
And one of the best found footage movies.
Yes.
It's become such a gimmick. But
Yeah.
that movie gimmick kind of works.
Yeah.
I did
Right.
enjoy, and the metaphor about 9/11 I thought was pretty good.
Right, came
It
out.
kind of started that craze too. So.
Yeah, that and the
Yeah.
paranormal activities,
Yeah,
I think,
yeah.
around
Yeah.
the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, I will
but
say
I-
that
yeah,
like
sorry.
these aren't on the same level as something like Show Dogs or I Love You Daddy, but they're disappointing.
Yeah.
They're not as good as I wanted them to be.
You're right, right.
So,
That's everything?
that's
That's
my
quite a
disappointments.
list, Rachel.
Yes.
Thank you. Cool. Jason.
So my worst of the year
Yeah.
list, I came up with 10.
Okay.
10 was Venom, 9, 15, 17 to Paris, 8 Hurricane Heist, 7 Tomb Raider, 6 Hotel Arnibus, 5 The Meg, 4 The Predator, which we already discussed about being the most disappointing.
Yeah.
And my top 3, these are the 3 that I absolutely hated, absolutely loathed. Gotti.
John
Was number
Travolta.
3. Oh,
Yep.
Terrible?
It
Oh
was,
my
it
God.
was terrible. Bohemian Rhapsody was 2, and a lot of
Whoa.
people are surprised about that. A lot of people are getting mad at me for that. And number 1, Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom.
Oh yeah.
So that would be my 10.
It's a bad
worst.
movie,
So
but it's got some interesting action sequences.
Jurassic World?
Yeah, the Fallen Kingdom.
I gave it half a star.
Wow.
And to me, it was because there's one shot when that Brontosaurus, when they're going away with it, you know
The-
exactly
the-
what I'm
the
talking
smoke
about.
and the fire.
The smoke and the fire, and it's so beautiful.
It's
I
so
would love to have
sad.
that framed.
Yeah.
Because it's so beautiful, and it shows that director J.A. Bayona, who did The
Yeah.
Orphanage, who did The Impossible.
Right.
He has
Yeah.
some talent in him, but I
Yeah.
guess everything else was compromised. And it just, I hated every other minute of that movie. But that one shot, it resonated with me, and it stuck with me.
What
long
about
after.
the scene, the dinosaur auction, like that underground auction scene? I thought that was pretty clever.
What are they going to do with him?
I
What are they
didn't-
gonna- I mean, and Toby Jones, I think, was the
Yeah,
actor
the
who was
auction-
auctioning. He's,
yeah.
he's a good actor.
He is.
And James Cromwell. How come we never heard of this guy in Jurassic Parks 1 through
That's a
3
great
or 4?
point.
All of a sudden,
Yeah.
John Hammond
Right.
had a secret rich partner. There's too much
Right.
Going on.
Too,
Yeah.
too stupid for me. And I enjoy a good stupid movie.
So did you like the first Jurassic World then?
And I did not.
Me
No,
neither.
I
Me
did
neither.
not.
No.
I was very underwhelmed by that. I think all the Jurassic World Park sequels come down to they have one amazing scene,
Yeah.
and then the rest of them are because Jurassic Lost World had
Right.
that T-Rex in San Diego. That was cool.
I thought the trailer hanging off the cliff scene was pretty amazing.
Okay, that was all
That
right.
was was awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the San Diego attack
Yeah,
scene.
and the pterodactyls in Jurassic Park 3.
Right.
The
Yes.
rest of the movie was worthless, but that pterodactyl scene was really cool.
And bringing back Alan Grant was amazing.
Okay, well,
You
that
know,
was the whole
Samuel.
movie.
Yeah.
And this, I would think that they brought back Jeff Goldblum as Ian Malcolm.
He's in it for 2 minutes.
I know, and it's
Right.
all in the trailers.
Yeah.
It was a day's worth of work, or they didn't
Yeah.
want to pay him more, or something.
Yeah,
It was
probably.
Every problem was that movie. Just really, I wish I could get those 2 hours.
That's a letdown
yeah,
for sure.
that was a big letdown for me.
All right. Wow. So that's number one on your.
That was my worst movie of the year.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
that's not-
All right.
Most disappointing was Predator, but that was the
Yeah,
worst.
and we're gonna get into Bohemian Rhapsody soon, Mister.
Okay, we can. That's
Yeah,
fine.
because I'm very surprised that's your number two. So,
That's my
okay.
number 2.
All right.
We'll discuss that one later.
All right, guys. So now the shame list, critically acclaimed movies, popular movies, what have you, that we didn't get a chance to see but we wanted to. For me, I've got If Beale Street Could Talk.
Yes.
I've just heard, rumblings about it. I hear it's great. And have you guys seen it yet?
I just
Yeah.
saw it.
You just saw it?
I recommend it.
Yeah, okay.
It's very powerful. It's not, if you're going to compare it to Barry Jenkins' other film, Moonlighting, it's not that good, but that was like, if pretend Barry Jenkins was his breakout and that was his all-star MVP year. It's good. It's
Okay.
it's an all-star movie, but it's not,
Regina
MVP
King, right?
material. She's good. The whole, the lead actress, I think her name is Kiki Lane.
Okay.
She's really good. Newcomer, young actress. The whole movie, it's a good, poetic love story about injustice.
Okay.
And, I mean, it fits in with the themes of a lot of movies that came out this year.
Yeah.
But it's still worth seeing.
Nice.
So,
yeah.
it's definitely-
It's also nominated, I think, for best drama tonight for Golden Globe. Also, I'm not sure if this came out this year or last year, but I've heard great things. I think from you, Chris. Annihilation.
Yes.
The Natalie Portman
Yeah, that was
action
this year.
sci-fi.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's on my honorable mentions.
That's okay.
That's on my top 10.
Good to know. Well, there you go. I gotta see
Now
it.
you gotta see it.
That's on my top 10.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Natalie Portman. She was great in Black Swan, of course. and Leon the Professional. And
yeah.
everything
Yeah.
in between those two. She was like, what, 10 years old?
Yep.
So yeah, she's a great actress. Also, a very popular film on Netflix right now, Bird Box. Have you guys seen it?
Nope.
Indeed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't feel so alone now.
It might be on my top 10.
Ooh, it might.
Wow. Just got in there in late December to make
Yeah,
your top
yeah,
10. Yeah.
Nice. But yeah, I've heard some really good things. I saw the trailer; it was very intense, and I'm assuming the movie is a lot more intense than that. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
Next up, I started watching this one. Didn't get through it all the way, but I've heard good things. Wildlife.
Yes.
Okay.
That is on my list for my shame list.
Okay. Oh, okay.
But that I very much want to see it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And basically, it stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Cara Mulligan.
Carrie Mulligan.
Carrie
Carrie
Mulligan.
Yeah, Carrie Mulligan.
From,
Yep.
from Drive. Very,
Yes.
she's good.
Yep. Yep.
And from what I've seen, it's basically about this family, I think in the 50s or 60s, and they're just undergoing some issues with the son, and it's just it's kind of gritty, kind of a gritty family drama. And yeah, it's on my to-watch list for sure. Okay, going through this, we got, I think, Rachel, you mentioned this a while back, Battle at the El Royale.
Bad Times at the El
Bad
Royale.
Times at the, yeah.
Yes, that's also on my shame list because I love Cynthia Erivo and I have wanted to see it, but it came and went so quickly in theaters. I didn't get a chance to.
Yeah. It did. A
Yeah.
lot of movies I feel like just have such a short time in the theaters nowadays.
And
Yeah.
they're on
Yeah.
home video
Yeah,
before you can,
It's like
yeah.
instantaneous. It's,
Yeah,
it's
I
really
remember
sad.
having to wait months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember waiting for VHSs?
Yeah.
Like a year?
Yeah, like 6 months to
Exactly.
rent it, a year to buy it, or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I kind of miss those days in a way.
Me too. Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
The golden age of home video.
Yeah.
So Bad Times at the El Royale. Does it have like a Coen Brothers vibe to it?
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah, Tarantino?
Yep,
I like
yeah,
that.
very much that type of vibe.
Cool. I just don't like the fact that they put Chris Hemsworth in everything now. It's
Oh.
just he's a little overexposed in my opinion.
You're next about Men in Black.
Oh,
No.
not really. I didn't like the last two Men in Blacks, so yeah. Are you?
I think it's an interesting take.
Yeah.
You know, and seeing Liam
Liam Neeson as the boss. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll
Yeah.
see. You know, not to cut you off or anything.
Sure.
But I'm so underwhelmed with the state of cinema lately. You know, like
Oh,
it's just like we're talking, and I feel like I'm
Yeah.
such a bore
Uh-huh.
sometimes, just because of the level of mediocrity in cinemas
If it's
now.
not someone with a cape or someone
Right,
with a
or-
Marvel, you're
Or
Yeah.
a dinosaur robot or whatever.
Yeah, something
How
like
many
that.
comic book movies or adaptations or sequels
No.
or prequels are that's the exposure that we
Yeah.
have
It's
right now.
unfortunate. And those are
Yeah.
the ones that are making the hundreds of $millions. So when people
Right.
say going to the movies is dead, it's not, because those movies are
Right.
making hundreds of $million the opening weekend.
Yeah.
It's the Bad Times at El Royale, it's the Annihilations,
Right.
it's the Hereditaries
Right.
that are, you have like 2 weeks to see them.
Right.
And if you miss out on that,
Right.
you're done. You're
Or
finished.
you have
yeah.
to like plan to go to
You gotta
a travel spot just
Yeah.
to find
Yeah.
this theater.
Or
that
just
might
wait
show
until it comes to home video,
Yeah,
but that's
yeah.
a completely different experience.
You got to find a small indie art house theater to get to
Yeah, it's-
access these wonderful
Right.
stories.
Yeah.
You know,
I will say though, there have been some movies that have, I think, surprised this year, like A Quiet Place. I mean, aside from the fact that it's Krasinski and Emily Blunt working on it, it's an original property,
Right.
and made on a very low budget that made a lot of money.
Right.
Definitely took people by surprise.
yeah.
I think it was last year, I could be mistaken about this, but I think the only movie in the top 10 highest grossing films of 2017, so 2 years ago, that wasn't a remake or a sequel or a comic book or not
Yeah.
an original property was Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk. I think
yeah.
everything else was a sequel, a
Right,
remake, a
right.
common book movie, some part
Yeah.
of the franchise,
It's true, that's a good
some
point.
way or another, and
Yeah.
then Dunkirk was the only one that
Right.
doesn't fit in. Yeah.
Yeah, but we have the Get Outs and
Mm-hmm.
we have the Quiet Place. I mean, horror has its place. It kind of stands the test of time when it comes to these huge blockbusters. But I feel like it's harder to see a good drama.
I agree.
In the theaters now, it's hard to have that exposure and have that accessibility.
Well, I think certain,
Yeah.
directors from the 70s that are still like
Right.
Spielberg is now,
Right.
he's not Mr. Blockbuster anymore. He's making
Right.
The Post, he's making Lincoln, he's making,
Right.
Bridge of Spies. So he's sort of become an actor's
Right.
director now in his later years. Scorsese, but Scorsese's next movie, The Irishman, is going to be a Netflix original. So who knows if that will be in the theaters or
It's
for how
just
long.
so
Yeah.
it's like a mixed bag of
It is.
talent and story, and it's just like all over the place. There's not a lot of focus, I think,
I agree.
in the
Yeah.
industry.
Yeah.
Focus
But-
on making
It's a
money.
shame.
Yeah,
That's what the
It
focus
really
is.
is.
It's not on
Unfortunately.
art. It's not on, trying
Yeah.
to tell a different
Yeah.
story, that'll
Yeah.
emotional, powerful story.
Yeah, you got to achieve that balance of
Yeah.
art and money.
I'm legitimately concerned about the state of cinema.
Hmm.
I have a younger sister-in-law. She's 12, and she loves movies.
Okay.
She loves action movies. She likes the Black Panthers and the Bumblebees.
Okay.
And she, recently she saw Bird Box, right?
Okay.
And she hated it. I'm like, Alexa, why do you hate it so much?
Right.
There's no action to it. There's no like these huge.
She needs
scenes and
constant
stuff.
It's like 90
Stimulation.
minutes of action
Right.
for the 2
Right,
hours.
right,
it's so
right.
suspenseful.
Right.
Right. So we're not equating suspense with action.
Action with
anymore.
like Black Panther blowing
Right,
up stuff, special
right,
effects, CGI.
Right, CGI.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
She'd probably think Die Hard is boring.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm
No,
serious.
absolutely,
That's not.
absolutely.
It's a different kind
That's
of.
a sad
right.
commentary on the youth of America, I mean, the
Right.
world.
So, what is the state of cinema going to be 10 years from now? What are we going to be seeing?
Right.
What's criticism or journalism gonna
I'm
be like?
holding
So-
out hope because remember about 10, 15, 20 years, late 90s, early 2000s, how bad TV was, reality TV.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I was just talking to you right before.
Yeah.
There's so many TV shows.
There's
like
so much
I don't.
good
You
TV.
need to have
Good ones,
Hulu.
too.
You need to have Amazon Prime. You need to have
Yeah.
Netflix. You need to have HBO.
Yep.
And then the networks have pretty good shows too.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm hopeful
Yeah.
that maybe this comic book. I think we're starting to see it die down a little bit with Venom and the DC movies, but Aquaman's making hundreds and
Yeah.
hundreds
And
of
then we
millions.
got
So you never know.
And then we got Avengers Endgame coming out
Yeah.
soon. So
Yeah.
I don't
So,
know.
yeah.
Who knows?
And
But
then they're gonna reboot
I'm
it, yeah.
hopeful
Right.
that this is cyclical and it'll come back and
I
they'll
hope.
start telling original art
Yeah.
stories.
And I
Yeah.
see a lot of really good stuff too with miniseries, especially
Okay.
on TV lately.
true.
So
That's true.
yeah,
Still
with a
TV.
lot of
TV's
really good
yeah.
filmmaking
TV's like the
happening.
new movie theater.
Right.
Exactly. I think that's
Yeah.
kind of
But-
sad.
Yeah.
You know, it used to be you're doing a good job if you're in a movie. Now you've made it
Right.
if you got TV shows.
Right,
Right.
right. And there's nothing wrong with it. A lot of my top 10, is Netflix and Amazon based, actually.
wow. Okay.
But there's something to be said about being locked in a room, where your full view of vision is devoted to the screen, that you have a community that's
Yeah.
invested in this without any distractions.
Right.
I
and
agree.
we're
100%,
losing
yeah.
that.
And there's certain movies that we were talking about, A Quiet Place.
Quiet
before.
Place, right.
You
Yeah.
could only, I think, that experience you had to see that in the theater.
Right.
Most of my friends that didn't see it in the
Right.
theater didn't like it, or
Right.
didn't like it as much as I did.
I saw it at
Right.
home on the TV, and it was, I mean, it was a great movie. But I think that, yeah, that would have
Lost it,
benefited from like
If you saw it in the
IMAX.
theater, oh yeah,
Yeah,
'cause
yeah.
and the whole audience is silent.
Yeah.
A chair squeaked, everyone looks. It was an experience. It was
Yeah.
Cool.
interesting.
And that's
yeah.
it. The experience. We're losing the experience.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
we're having a similar issue in the theater community as well right now.
Yeah.
I mean, with Kanye West recently being on his phone for the entirety of the Cher show, and the actor backstage being like, you know, we're doing a stage up here, we're doing a show up here,
Yeah.
right?
That's horrible.
And all of his fans are like, well, he paid for his ticket, he can do whatever he wants. It's like,
right.
Wait,
no,
he was
no,
on
can't.
stage with a phone?
No, he was seen out in the audience
Okay.
on his phone, and the actor had seen him from on stage on
Yeah.
his phone, and backstage tweeted, "Hey, you know we're doing a show up here, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you might want to look up from your phone
Yeah.
and see it."
Yeah.
That's
So-
funny.
That's a sad
Yeah.
commentary.
Yeah.
That's a
It
nice
is.
story to encapsulate everything that
Yeah.
we're talking
Kanye
about.
West is a sad guy.
Right.
I agree with that
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Now, coming
All
back
right.
to the Shame
Yeah,
list.
Sorry, tangent.
No, it's
over.
cool.
There
It's
you
cool.
go.
So this is a Spanish language film. I think Jason, you're a fan of this one, Roma.
I did enjoy it.
Yeah, I didn't see it yet,
Yeah,
but
me either.
everybody
It's on
seems
mine.
to
Me
love it.
It's on everyone's top
Yeah.
10, almost a number 1 or 2 on
Right,
the
Yeah.
top 10.
so-
Yeah, it's worth seeing.
Okay.
Alfonso.
Alfonso
Cuarón.
Cuarón, yep.
Cuarón, excellent director. Yeah.
Now he didn't do not Birdman. Which one did he do?
He did Children of Men.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
which
Oh,
is
Children
my
of Men, it
favorite
says.
of
Yes.
his.
that
I
one
love
shot
Children of
on the
Men.
highway
Oh,
with
with
they're shooting at the
Julianne
car.
Moore
Yeah.
and the,
Yeah, with the-
and then
Yeah.
there's a shot at the end. And I think that's just the way he sees the world. Like
Yeah.
people complain
Yeah.
Michael Bay movies are every shot is like half a second.
Yeah.
That's the way Michael Bay
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
Cuarón, I don't even think he can't edit a film like that.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
just so everything is long takes and there's
Right.
a lot of long, beautiful takes in
Yeah.
Roma.
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Also, 2 more we got. Beautiful Boy, Steve Carell.
Yeah, that's on my shame list also.
Okay. Yeah, for great things.
Yep.
And Vice, which I think has the most nominations this year at the Golden Globes.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
That's my opinion.
I also heard that it was very accurate, very historical, but that's about it. And a decent performance from Bale.
That's like saying hearsay and speculation is accurate.
Uh-huh.
Because we don't really, Dick Cheney's a very private guy,
Mm.
and we can assume that, it's stereotyping these people. We can
Right.
assume Dick Cheney is cruel, mean, manipulative. We don't really learn anything from him. We assume George W. Bush was a buffoon and that other people in his staff were calling the shots. And this just, continues on those assumptions. You
Yeah.
don't really, I didn't learn anything from it.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know how political savvy and knowledgeable I am about this, but they do good impressions of these people
Right.
Yeah.
for 2.25 hours, and that's it.
Yeah. Do you think Bale deserves an award for
No.
this? No.
No,
Okay.
no. I mean, and there's another problem I have, another trend with movies. All the British actors are playing these American icons. Ruth Bader Ginsburg
Yeah.
is Felicity
Jones.
Jones. Are you kidding me?
That might be on my top 10.
Oh, well.
No?
Okay. I don't know.
Superman, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's
Henry
another, the
Cavill.
most American hero we can't get. Yeah, that's
Bale
another
was
great
Batman.
example. Christian Bale. Well, Batman. Superman's truth, justice, and the American way. Okay, yeah, that one I can. And he's playing Dick Cheney. It's just
Teas and crumpets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, half the Walking Dead. Who knew that
That's true.
Andrew Lincoln was
Right.
British and
Right.
he plays
Oh, yeah.
Atlanta,
Yeah.
Southern sheriff
Right.
perfectly.
Right, right,
So I don't know what's
Nice.
going on with American actors, but
Yeah.
whatever.
All right. Well, that rounds out my shame list, and I think we're gonna go to the honorable mentions now.
Honorable mention.
Actually, you know what? This might be a good time for a quick commercial break.
Okay.
From our sponsor over at Magnitude Jewelry. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Under the Radar is brought to you by Magnitude Jewelry. Add a 2 to match your attitude. Patent pending interchange genuine gemstone and crystal EMF protection jewelry. For more information, please visit magnitudejewelry.com/gemgirl or call 718-268-6634.
And we're back, guys. Welcome back to Under the Radar. And so for the sake of time, we're just going to read off the lists of our honorable mentions, and I think some shame lists too, and of course the top 10. Okay, so honorable mentions for me. Widows, the thriller with Viola Davis, very good. Kind of like Ocean's 8, I'd say, a little more serious.
A lot more
A lot more
serious.
serious.
And with a lot more to say about race and
Yeah.
politics
Yeah.
and
Right.
socioeconomic
Great acting.
status.
Yeah.
No, I didn't realize this, but it was Steve McQueen.
Yeah,
Yes,
Steve McQueen.
yeah,
Yep.
And I love his movies, and this was
Yeah.
really his first like legit blockbuster, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it didn't make back its money, or
Right,
it wasn't
right,
the big
right.
hit, but I mean, 12 Years a Slave was incredible. And you
Yeah.
mentioned Shame. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
Shame is an underrated,
Yeah.
difficult movie,
Yep.
but
But
underrated
that's the
movie.
reason why.
Yeah.
Definitely
Yeah.
excellent.
Very
yeah.
difficult movie.
I saw that once years ago.
Yeah.
And I still have like scenes seared into my brain.
Wow,
you know?
Shame?
Yeah.
Yep.
Michael
yeah.
Fassbender.
Okay,
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
great. Yeah. All right, let's do this. Ralph Breaks the Internet. The Rebound. I don't know if you saw. It's a documentary about wheelchair-bound basketball players. It's really
Yep.
powerful.
Yep. I was on.
You were on for that.
one,
Okay, Aquaman. It's like becoming the most successful DC superhero movie ever made, I think. Or it's
Pretty good.
It is
Not
good.
gonna lie, I was surprised.
Yeah.
If I had to pick most surprising of the year,
Yeah.
as much as Predator was disappointing, that would be my most surprise.
And with the
surprise
current
of the
state of DC, I was very surprised.
Yeah.
Pleasantly surprised. Solo, a Star Wars story. Yeah, I didn't love the main actor, but I thought that the film itself was just totally fun and a nice throwback to the original trilogy. So, do you guys know? No.
I disagree with you on
It's
that.
also on my honorable mentions.
Okay.
Because I did not see it until it came out, until it was out of theaters,
Yeah.
and I had very low expectations going in actually because of what I had heard, and I was very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
If there was one thing that, I wish that there was more of some of the supporting characters. That unfortunately, are only in the first part of the movie, but
Like
yeah.
Woody Harrelson. He's great.
Well, he's in it quite a bit, but
Yeah.
there's another character, without getting into spoilers, that doesn't get as much screen time as I would like.
Okay.
So, yep.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
And now this is up for a few statues tonight. Green Book. Viggo Mortensen and
Mahershala.
Damn it,
Mahershala Ali.
Mahershala
Yep.
Ali, yes. Both nominated for this very interesting look at race during the 1960s. Jason, did you see this one?
Yeah, I was not a fan of this
Not a
one.
fan?
I
Okay.
found it to be Driving Miss Daisy for 2018.
They reversed
They just
it.
reversed it.
Yeah.
And I mean, do we need? It's okay. It's a nice story, and the acting is terrific.
Yeah.
I walked out of there a lot more favorably than I would have if it wasn't for Viggo Mortensen was outstanding.
Yes.
Once again, proving that he's one of the most underrated actors I think we have today.
Mm-hmm.
And Mahershala Ali was excellent as
excuse
well. So I can't fault the acting. I just felt the story itself was so patronizing and
Yeah.
so
kind of formulaic.
very
Yeah.
formulaic.
Yeah.
Very.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah,
That's
I
cool.
mean, the Green Book was on my honorable mentions, but like you guys have been saying, like when it comes to my top 10, I would say the 5 are really the meaty ones, and the last 5 are okay, and then it just drops from there. So
Okay.
it's honorable just by default,
The
outside of the
acting,
10.
I'll never
But
say
it was,
anything
it
bad
was a
about the
solid
performances.
movie.
Yeah.
Being Italian, I related to
Okay.
Vigo's character a little bit, which was kind of, it was just a nice.
Why you busting my balls
I
here?
know,
Yeah.
He
yeah.
did a good
And-
De Niro circa
Yeah.
1991,
Right.
92 impression. Yeah.
It was,
It was
just-
good.
It was a good, and for what it's worth, that's the drama that we have today. That's
Which
the
is
drama in the.
it's a
yeah.
commentary on itself. I
Right,
guess.
right.
Yeah, okay.
Next up, Isle of Dogs, the Wes Anderson animated adventure about dogs on an island. They find this little boy who crash lands in a small jet, and basically they all go on this wild adventure together. It's Wes Anderson. I mean, he's an acquired taste. I love him. I don't love all his movies, however, but this
I
was a
agree
good
with
one.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with
Yeah.
you 100% on that. Yeah.
Me as well. I think.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that he's overrated, but I wish I would like him more personally. Like I feel like going into his films.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I'm going to give this guy a chance again.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the topic. I'm excited for the freshness and the originality. But Isle of Dogs, it was fine. It was
Yeah.
good. It falls somewhere in my year.
Okay.
But I forgot a lot of the movie at this point.
It
you know?
did come out back in March or
Yeah, yeah.
April or something.
Yeah,
so
it
it's
was like
been a while.
it was a spring
been a
one.
It's
Yeah.
been a while, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing for me anyway. When I look at my top 10s, I think of experiences in the theater or experiences watching it, scenes that still haunt me to this day or are with me to this day. I think watchability and I think just impact of the movie creates that top 10.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Next up, this is a smaller film. I don't know if you guys saw it. And Rachel, I think you may have reviewed this with me. Science Fair. This movie was so well made, and it was really pretty well publicized. Basically, it chronicles the life of like 4 teenagers who are competing in like the biggest science fair in the world.
Okay.
These are like future engineers and scientists, and basically it's like how they mentally prepare themselves for the competition, how they're using this as kind of like to put on their resume for college, and it's a great documentary. I don't really review documentaries often, but I'm really happy I got to review this one. And yeah, Science Fair, if you guys ever come across it. Yeah, it's great. Next up, Ready Player One. The Steven Spielberg action sci-fi adventure. Kind of going back to his early 90s, 80s style of sci-fi humor and fun. Jason, you're a fan? You're nodding.
I was not a fan.
Not a fan?
It was okay.
Okay.
It made me question how much nostalgia is too much.
Oh.
And it felt like it didn't feel like a Spielberg movie. It felt like one of Spielberg's
cronies.
Yeah. Trying to make a Spielberg
Okay.
film.
Yeah.
And that's the last thing I would expect. I guess he's
Interesting.
moved beyond that, and he was trying to capture his old '80s glory with E.T. and Raiders of the Lost Ark.
And I love it. I
Close
mean,
Encounters of the Third Kind.
yeah.
I wanted to. It had fun parts. I didn't
Yeah.
hate it, but I'd rather watch The Post.
Yeah.
Okay? I would rather watch
Or
Lincoln.
Beyond the Bridge of Spies.
I'd rather watch
That's a
Bridge of
great-
Spies.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
I'd rather watch one of those films.
So, yeah.
I will say that it's probably the best possible adaptation you could have gotten out of that book.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Are you
See, I
familiar with the
I'm
book?
familiar
or-
with the source.
Yeah,
I didn't read-
I'm familiar
yeah.
with the
Yeah,
source
it's
material.
very much a fanboy book.
Was it an-
It is
was
a
an-
fanboy book, and this actually adds more action into it, and like makes the puzzles much more interesting and interactive, as opposed to just, I have to memorize this whole scene from this movie and just read it back to like the game or whatever.
See, I
It's
didn't
like
have
you
that.
actually have puzzle solving.
I think
as
a
part of
criticism
it.
for me, it's kind of tries to be like Tron meets The Matrix.
That's a
and
good-
the story wasn't as original as I had hoped. I just love the visual style. It's beautiful.
The visual effects. Were
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
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 Cool. Next up, pretty big contender tonight, A Star Is Born. And Rachel, you were on for this.
Yes.
This movie has been made, 4 times now, or 5 times?
4 times.
This is the 4th version.
Yep.
And basically, we've got Bradley Cooper pulling double duty as actor-director. He's nominated for both, I think. And also Lady Gaga for Best Actress, which
Yes.
I think she has a pretty good shot tonight for that.
Yeah, pretty good shot. And this is actually in my top 10.
Yeah.
So-
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
I believe that. Yeah. You're a fan?
Yeah. It's in my top 10.
Okay.
When we get there.
Yeah,
I'll
okay.
comment more, yeah.
Cool. Jason, fan?
I liked it. It's not
Good.
in my top 10, but
Oh.
I did enjoy it.
Good.
But I did. Yeah, I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, for sure.
All right.
Oh, sure.
Cool. Next up, Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
That is in my honorable mentions.
Is it?
Also, yes.
It's
yes.
very well made. It's Coen Brothers, I think, at their best. I mean, they've rarely disappointed me.
Yeah.
And I'm always looking forward to seeing what they have to come out with next. Kind of like Wes Anderson, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, see, that's a good example of a film that would do better on a big screen. You know,
Probably, yeah.
Well, they
Right.
screened it at the IFC Center.
right, for like a minute.
Right.
Yeah.
So-
If you weren't there for that weekend, you didn't get to see it.
Yeah.
So,
And that's
yeah.
it's accessible, yes,
Yeah.
but just there's that level of distraction. Like for me, at least, I have a dog who just barks like nonstop at horses. So this movie, just
Oh,
did not
wow,
did
okay.
not have a time of day. So
I-
it's that it's that level of distraction that gets eliminated within a theater going experience that we're losing a little bit. So
I agree.
Yeah.
So I wanted to like that movie more than I
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the stories worked. The
Yes.
Zoe Kazan story, the Buster Scruggs story at the
Yeah.
beginning,
Right.
the Tom Waits story,
Yeah.
and then the others, the Liam Neeson.
The one in the
was
stagecoach,
kind of-
I didn't
Yeah, I
think-
got what they were going for. I
Right.
just didn't. So if you like half a movie, is that worth recommending? I don't know. I'd recommend some of it. Yeah.
I'd definitely recommend some of it. Actually, the Zoe Kazan one was the one that maybe second from the least worked for me.
Oh, okay.
So,
All right.
yeah.
And the last on my honorable mentions is Bohemian Rhapsody. Okay, so the final moment. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time for this, so we'll have to kind of move along.
Okay.
So, Chris, top 10.
Are we rattling them
We're
off,
going from
or-
10 down.
Okay, so I'm just gonna rattle them off, or are we gonna?
Yeah, rattle them off, and
Or
if
do a
something
round
like
robin.
sparks our interest for debate, we can.
All right.
you know.
So, like I mentioned, I feel like my top 5 are kind of the meat of my list, and
Okay.
the top 5 I would say like they can go in any order.
Okay.
But for me, Bohemian Rhapsody just made 10.
Okay.
I've been anticipating this film for nearly 10 years now. Remember when Sacha
You've been
Baron
following
Cohen,
it.
yeah,
Okay.
was attached to play Freddie Mercury.
Right.
And
Very troubled production for a long time.
yeah, it was. It was.
Was it going to be a comedy or?
No, it's a
'cause
biopic,
He's not
yeah.
really a dramatic actor.
Well, he's done a few.
Has he?
Like
Hugo.
Yeah.
right?
Les
right,
Mis.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, he's had his moments.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I thought it was a decent biopic.
Okay.
Thought the last part was just they could have just reshot Live Aid and just leave it as that. But
True.
I thought how they handled certain situations like sexual orientation, how they dealt with him coming out was kind of a unique story. And I liked it for what it's worth. It's number 10. It's number
Okay.
10.
Keep going.
Bird Box is number 9. Really,
wow.
really enjoyed that one. It's very shocking, surprising, but it did feel like a copycat movie. It did feel like it owed A Quiet Place a lot of its success.
And a lot of other things too.
Right, right.
Blindness.
Right, exactly.
What else did it? The Walking Dead TV series.
Right.
What's that other one? The Road with Viggo
Yeah.
Mortensen. It
Right.
owed a
That's one
lot
of the
to
most
those.
depressing
Yeah.
movies.
This is similar.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
It almost felt like way back when Sixth Sense was great and made a huge amount of money and was a great success.
Yeah.
Then we had the others. It was kind of like the trail off, the copycat version of
Yeah.
that.
Right.
Number 8 for me is the Christmas Chronicles. That
Oh,
was-
yeah,
that
yeah.
was just a
Kurt
fun.
Russell.
Yeah, it was just a
Okay.
fun. I think
That's
as
a-
far as
yeah.
holiday movies go, I was really pleasantly surprised.
It was refreshing, and it's good for the whole
Yeah.
family,
I
which
have
we
to sit
need.
and watch the whole thing.
Yeah, I
haven't-
think it's
I
something-
love
Oh,
Kurt Russell. I
he's
haven't seen
amazing.
it
Yeah,
yet.
Yep.
he can do no wrong.
And
Yeah.
he's
It
was
had a
definitely
nice
an
career
honorable mention for
resurgence.
me. Yeah.
With the Tarantino movies and the Fast and the
Yeah.
Furious.
Oh, he
and
was
now
so good in
this.
Very
Death
versatile.
Proof.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think just with time, I think it'll become a little bit of a
Christmas classic.
classic, and
Alright.
people
I gotta see it.
Yeah,
I gotta
yeah.
see it.
Chris,
Then-
I think we have to
then-
yeah.
okay.
Sorry.
All right, Mission Impossible Fallout. I
Nice.
thought it was a great action film.
Good.
And then mid-90s.
Nice. That's on my top 10 here.
Yep,
That's
mid-nineties,
number
just-
7. Yeah.
It just zoned in on the period very well. And then now Tully
Okay.
is number 5.
Charlize
Love that
Theron,
film
yeah.
so much. It's really, when I was watching it, I felt like this was the last of its kind. I felt like I saw it in the movie theater, and I felt like it's something that we're not going to see in the theaters anymore. So it felt special to me.
Was this from the same director of Young Adult?
Yes.
Jason
Yep.
Reitman.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jason
Yep.
Reitman.
That was good.
And there was just elements there that are just hanging on with me, and I think it just portrays a nice, unique slice of life.
Cool.
And then A Quiet Place,
Nice, of
A
course.
Star Is Born, then Black Klansman. Just
Ah.
love that film tremendously.
That's on my top 10.
That's my
that's-
number one.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
By
There you
by
go.
Okay,
by,
yeah.
by a long shot, that's my number one.
Yeah, yeah,
That's my number
rightfully so.
5. Yeah.
All of our top 10. It seems
yeah.
okay.
So
Yeah.
good.
All right.
And then number 1 is Annihilation for me.
Wow,
I love
really?
that. Just
I
through-
loved it too.
I saw it in the movie theater, and it took me by surprise. Really made you think. It really confused you. And
So it's
Yes.
not just like a straight up action thriller.
No,
No,
not
no,
at
it's
all.
like
It's
very
very slow.
I love it. I
Very
love it.
slow
Very
paced.
slow
Very
with a
smart,
big
yeah.
punch at the end. I
Yes.
felt like,
Okay.
and it leaves you just hanging and leaves you confused. And
Yeah.
I
But
think
in a good way.
in a good
Yeah, in a
way.
good way.
And
Okay,
you-
okay.
And then you do have like Netflix that kind of like watch it again and kind of absorb it, reabsorb it. So
All right.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So that's a great list.
Yeah, and,
So good.
and you'll see like there's a lot of Netflix and streaming, so
Mhm.
it definitely has its purpose.
That's
but-
funny coming from a guy who values the theater experience.
Yeah, well, I
Change
mean,
the way.
Yeah.
movies are.
that's the way that we're dealing with it, But luckily, we do have that counterpoint too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Gotcha. Miss Kolb.
All right. Well, I said that my number one, of course, is Black K Klansman. The rest of these are not in any particular order, but I've grouped a couple of these by themes.
Okay.
For one of these groupings, I've got Crazy Rich Asians, To All the Boys I've Loved Before, and Blockers, which I put all of them
I saw
together.
Blockers. It was
Yeah.
funny.
Blockers-
It was fun. Yeah.
I think
Michael
that this-
Cena's great in that.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
great.
John Cena.
John
Cena,
Cena.
sorry.
John Cena.
Michael
Yes,
Cena.
yes. I think that all three of these really point to where the romantic comedy genre is going towards.
Right.
And I think Crazy Rich Asians represents like the very big, opulent romantic comedy that we haven't seen for quite a while that has a lot of money behind it, just looks beautiful, is just kind of this escapist to All the Boys I've Loved Before is kind of the future of the John Hughes high school
Nice.
romantic comedy. And similar with Blockers, where it's more like the future of the Judd Apatow Superbad type of comedy.
Frat Pack.
Yes. Next up, I've got Paddington 2 and Incredibles 2, which were both sequels that had very big shoes to fill.
Paddington was so underrated. It
Paddington-
was so cute.
Yes,
What a
both
sweet
both
movie.
Paddington and Paddington 2 are amazing
Nice.
movies, so worth seeing. And then next up, I've got this. This is going to be a little bit divisive, but these are two movies that I feel like got mixed reactions from critics, but I absolutely loved, which were A Wrinkle in Time and Mary Poppins Returns.
Okay.
A Wrinkle in Time has one of my like top scenes of like any movie this year, which was the daughter reuniting with her father. I thought that scene was just so well executed, and I love Chris Pine in that movie. I thought he gave a great performance. And then next up, Black Panther and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, of course,
On my list.
opening up who can be a superhero in such a beautiful way and opening up what a superhero movie looks like.
Right, especially Spider-Verse. I mean,
Yes.
I think it shows that animation could really go to different
Levels,
strengths and
yeah, yeah,
levels.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially for the comic book genre.
It was brilliant. It was like the comic book came alive on the screen, and that's one of the best Spider-Man films of all time, for sure. If not the best.
They're saying it's the best.
I think it is
Yeah.
the best. So brilliant.
Yep.
That's on my list.
And also in that vein, Infinity War, which I felt like I had to include it because it affected me in a way that I did not expect. That final scene really did emotionally affect
No
me quite a
spoilers.
bit.
Yes.
And then another emotionally affecting movie for me, A Star Is Born, which we've discussed. And then grouped together, I've got Sorry to Bother You, along with Widows,
Sorry to Bother You's on my list.
which I included those
Strange.
because those two movies both went directions that I did not
Yeah.
expect. They took a sharp left turn, and I went, okay, I'm along for the ride.
Right. Like, how would you even? It's like a dramedy, sci-fi horror.
Yes.
I guess.
Yeah. Oh, definitely dark comedy.
It's so weird and out there and
Yes.
just plain awesome.
Just wonderful.
Yeah, so good.
And then Won't You Be My Neighbor?
That's on my list.
That's on my list.
Yes.
Mr. Rogers' documentary.
Yep, absolutely must see.
Yeah.
And then grouped together Ocean's 8 with A Simple Favor, which were just so much fun to see just from a visual perspective. I thought the costuming work on both of these movies was just excellent.
Nice.
And great showcases for a lot of really good female actresses between both of these movies. So,
Wow.
Great
I'm out of
talent.
breath.
No, I would agree that they were great talents.
good.
I just thought they were just underutilized.
For Ocean's 8?
Ocean's 8, yeah.
did you see A Simple Favor?
Yes, I did, and that was great. That
Yes.
was great.
Blake
Yes.
Lively and Anna Kendrick.
See, I heard mostly negative about that. I
Yeah,
have yet to see it.
no
so,
interest,
Neither
really.
did I,
Uh,
but I've.
Yeah, it just looks like it was like a rom-com.
No.
No,
Oh,
it's a
not at all.
mystery
No.
film.
No. This is
Oh, one of them gets
this is-
kidnapped, right?
This
So
is
we've gotta
this
see
is
it.
like
Yeah,
this is-
right?
We gotta
it's-
see it
it's
now. We
like
got homework.
it's like Paul Feig who did Spy
Yeah.
doing Gone Girl. That's
Okay.
what it is.
That sounds
That
okay.
is what it
see,
is.
If they just put that on the
Yeah, yeah.
poster, I'd
Yeah.
be more apt
Yes.
to
Very
want to go
quirky.
see
and-
it.
Yeah,
But
dark.
the thing is, of course, he doesn't want to give away too much of the game with it.
Okay.
So, but it's well worth seeing.
Okay. Jason.
All right, my top 10. I've
Yes.
got it in order. I'll just two honorable mentions that just didn't make the cut: 8th grade and Little Stranger.
8th grade was
Okay.
great. She was
8th grade was
She's
great.
up for an
It
award
felt- and
tonight.
I wouldn't mind if she won. All right, I'll
Perfect.
do it 10 to number 1,
Yeah, yeah.
and there are themes. 10, my only comedy, and I feel like I got to put a comedy in there. Death to Stalin. Love Death to Stalin.
That's on my. That's I think number
That's
3
my
for me.
shame list.
It's 10 for me.
No,
okay.
no, it technically came out in 2017, but I think
Wide release was in
Wide
March.
release was
I
this
saw
year.
it the
Yeah.
same time I saw I Love Dogs.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was around the same time.
some of the best comedic writing I think I've ever seen.
Mel Brooks would be proud.
Yeah.
It was our generation, the producers
Yeah,
of this era.
it was great, great.
So that was 10. 9, we mentioned Dakota Fanning, the Suspiria remake. 8, Annihilation. 7, Won't You Be My Neighbor. 6, A Quiet Place. 5, now we're in the top 5 here, and this is where it does start to really change. Roma, 4, First Reformed. If you haven't seen it, see it.
no.
See it.
Ethan Hawke
yeah.
that's the best performance I've ever
Yeah?
seen. Yeah.
Wow.
3,
Yeah, I see it,
Black
yeah.
Klansman, which we all agreed is fantastic, and my top 2, and Black Klansman and The Hate You Give is my number 2.
Okay.
Hate You Give maybe moved me more than anything else this year, and number 1, much to your dismay, Hereditary.
Wow.
That to me,
Wow.
I think horror has
Fisticuffs.
matured so much, but I think horror, it's been getting better the past few decades
Yeah.
with films like The Descent, Don't Breathe, The Mist, and now I think this year we had the best Halloween movie since John Carpenter's original. You didn't
Honestly,
like it?
I thought H2O was better than this.
And I'll disagree with you on
Yeah.
that. That's another debate
Yeah,
for
no.
another time. Okay, yeah. But I think the Suspiria remake was outstanding. I think A Quiet Place was really incredible. That really transported me. And then Hereditary, just normally I reserve my number 1 for a film that is topical and represents the year and the times.
Yeah.
Hereditary could have been made any time in the last few decades.
Yeah.
And I just thought the horror about it being embedded in our DNA, I absolutely loved. So that's why that movie stood out. And
Nice.
you talk about it came back in the spring, and I remember it so well. I haven't seen it since, but man, was that a memorable experience for
Awesome.
me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I think that's where cinema is right now. I think horror is the
It's
shining light,
matured.
yeah.
It's really
Right.
it's evolved from the slashers to
Right.
being. They still have those.
But then you got
Makes you think,
Happy Death Day, so it's sad. It's like
Yeah.
But I think horror overall has gotten
Right.
a little bit better over
matured,
over the past few
Right.
years.
Yeah.
So like so.
I agree with Hereditary being one of the better ones as of
Okay.
late.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Conflicted. I don't know if I should see it or not.
Yeah.
See
Uh,
it.
here-
For
here's,
yourself.
here's my feeling. Yes, absolutely, it is worth seeing.
Yeah.
This is entirely a personal
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
It is entirely a personal thing that I did not enjoy watching it, but I can recognize that it's well made.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yep.
Less than a minute to go, guys. So I'm just gonna rattle these. Most of these we've mentioned already. Won't You Be My Neighbor? The Equalizer 2. I wanted to throw that in there. It's kind of a curveball.
Interesting.
It was just a fun performance from
And I
Denzel
like
Washington.
Denzel.
Yeah,
I
he was
like
a-
him when he's action.
He's
star,
a total
yeah.
badass in this too, so I recommend it if you want some mindless entertainment.
Nice.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, mid-90s. Sorry to Bother You. Black Klansman, of course. On the basis of sex, I'm surprised I'm the only one who has seen this. Or
I haven't seen it yet.
She gives a great performance as Ginsburg.
She
convinces you
she
she's
looks
Ginsburg?
just like her. Like you see
Really?
pictures,
Yeah.
pictures of Ruth Bader Ginsburg at that time,
Yeah.
and she looks just like her.
She's fantastic, and I hope she gets nominated for an Oscar. Death of Stalin, and the last two and one. First Man, which
Okay.
I'm
Interesting.
I
surprised
was
again.
underwhelmed by that.
on my
Yeah.
shame
I
list,
was
haven't
I
seen
did
it.
not like it.
Really?
I wanted to like it.
You feel like you're in the space
That's
shuttle.
what my friend says.
Yeah.
And I just felt like, why did they shoot it so? And he's like, because you're going inside Neil Armstrong's mind.
Right.
It was too jarring for me.
Okay.
It was too.
I loved it.
I wanted to like it.
It was gritty as hell. I loved it.
Yeah, that certainly was. It felt
Yeah.
like the Bourne Ultimatum. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
Yeah.
And number one for me, Can You Ever Forgive Me?
That was an
It's-
excellent movie.
Melissa McCarthy, Richard E. Grant.
He's probably going to get the
They both deserve it. They're fantastic.
good female performances this year.
Yeah,
Oh,
seriously,
absolutely.
very strong.
A very strong. Like you look at Toni Collette, Amanda Stenberg from Hate You Give, Melissa McCarthy for that movie. There have been so many terrific female performances.
Yeah.
More than I could from this year. That I can
And it's
remember
even
in a long
great
time.
because it's after the Me Too movement.
Right. Yeah.
So that's very, very
The
awesome.
still ongoing Me Too.
I
movement.
will-
It's still ongoing.
Yes.
It's not
Unfortunately.
over.
Yep.
They're wearing something tonight.
Oh, are they?
I don't know exactly what
Oh.
it is, but they're wearing something.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So just have some sponsor events coming up for Magnitude. January 12th, Women's Conference in Hop Hog, Long Island. January 13th, the original Psychic Fair in Garden City Hampton Inn Hotel. February 2nd to the 3rd, the New Life Expo in Boca Raton, Florida. March 3rd, the Holistic Expo Staten Island. March 22nd to the 24th, New Life Expo New York City. And April 28th, the Awakenings Fair in Tarrytown, New York. Guys, I want to thank you so much for tonight. This has been amazing. I hope to have you all again on soon. And everyone at home, thanks for watching, and enjoy the Golden Globes. We'll be back with another episode Under the Radar next week. Take care, guys.
Cheers.
Under the Radar is all new next week with more movie reviews and interviews on Strong Island Radio and Television. Stay tuned. We'll see you next week.